Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. This is Dr. Najeeb Ranginwala. First of all, everybody can recite Durood Sharif. Thanks to Allah and Allah's blessing. I'm so much thankful for Allah for giving me time and opportunity to talk to the people. Allah has given me something and some knowledge and everything. And my goal is to share my knowledge to you. May Allah forgive me if I am in some way wrong, but Allah knows the best, right? I'm very thankful for IMS for giving me a platform to discuss about it, and also thankful for the audience, in spite being busy and a lot of work going on. They took time to listen, and this is recorded so they can also listen later, right? So we will go through it. So briefly, I will discuss my presentation. Uh, I have done approximately 6 of the presentation up till now on IMS UK on this series. So the first 4 presentation was on low self-esteem. And that is the cornerstone of learning. You need to learn if you have high and low self-esteem. That is significantly important because the concept of self-esteem is different in psychology versus Islamic concept. So that's why people get confused and don't know what to do about it because your concept is wrong, and you need to learn from which concept are you following. You're following the psychology concept or you're following the Islamic concept. Once you learn in detail about the concept, that will significantly help you to bring your self-esteem up and will sustain your high self-esteem. In going through that series, it was significantly important for every one of us to understand what is nafs, qalb, ruh, ilm, hikmat, and akal, correct? And the contribution of psychology in that, because if you have low self-esteem, something is contributing from this, and this is coming from the Holy Quran, correct? If the Allah's book is book of hikmat, which we 100% believe in it, then we need to learn. Allah knows our nature, everything about it, correct? And this is the paradigm which, if you look at that, it will help you understand your human nature, correct? And so we need to identify where in this paradigm lies of your low self-esteem. Once you identify correctly and each component correctly, you have a better understanding. Otherwise, you go 6 feet under and you don't know. By the way, the moment you die and you see angel of death, everything will be revealed to you. And it's too late for you. I'm telling you, it's too late for you. Everything will be revealed. It's in this world, you are being tested. And if you decide to be following whatever your will is, that's your choice. But Allah give you Book of Hikmat, the Holy Quran, and the Sirah. And if you decide not to follow, that's your choice. Our job means it's our job to do that. Allah has given you enough time, and we are all accountable. So anyhow, so I spent 4 presentation on those, and then we went to the topic of habits. The first presentation on the habit, which is the 5th one, I went into the neuropsychiatry of habits. So you need to know what's in your mind where your habit is formed, correct? And if you understand the areas of the brain and the connection, then you understand how you develop habits, correct? It's not a mystery, it's there, correct? And it's so at least neuropsychiatry and psychology and pretty much neuroanatomy teach you about that, the pathways, the neurotransmitters, and everything, correct? So now, if we know all those things and not to learn about it, then it's our fault completely that knowing all these things and we don't want to learn about it and then say, I don't know. That's our shortcoming, correct? So we need to understand that. So I went into the 5th presentation on that, and the 6th one is more application of it, of developing habits, why we develop these habits, and not good how to nurture good habit and how to control bad habits. So once you know the structure and the function, how the brain works and how the habits are formed, you can work on it. But if you don't know how it works, you will be lost and say means so you need to learn that. Allah has given the book of Himmat to learn that. Anyhow, during this presentation, I was asked why we developed procrastination on namaz. And that's a good question, very good question. I really appreciate for the person asking that question, that why we have consistency for our jobs and all the other things, but when it comes to the namaz and other thing, we are procrastinating, correct? And that's something we need to figure out. And fortunately, psychiatry goes and tells the whole detail about it. Tons of research done. Why a person procrastinate. So it's very important to understand why a person procrastinate. Once you understand procrastination, the phenomena of procrastination, you understand why you are procrastinating on namaz or procrastination on all the good things, correct? And why you have consistency for your job and then procrastinate at the same time for the namaz or other good things, right? It's black and white. So it's very important to understand all these concepts, correct? So let's start with that and we'll go from there. So these are the question which I put forward. Why do we practice consistency with our job and change to procrastination at the same time with our religious duty in the last 10 years, right? We need to ask ourselves, so you need to think about that, right? And I will try to answer those questions, but I think so you need to also think about it because that's your issue. And that will be my issue too if I'm procrastinating on something. Why do religious belief like forgiveness of God, Ghafur Rahim, lead us to thought of procrastination? And some people have that. So why? Is procrastination a thought or behavior? We need to think about it. What's the difference between habit and personality? And how does intellectual thinking justify procrastination? Correct. These are the things which psychiatry and psychology goes in detail and explain that. Our job is to learn about it and fix our issues and be a better Muslim. Correct. So that is some question you should be considering to think about it and answer yourself because everybody has their own answer, and we'll go from there. Correct. So let's go first of all on this. And this will be my question to all of you guys, and keep the mic open. Where do you think procrastination lies or consistency lie on this flowchart? Can anybody wants to answer this question?
Nuts, maybe.
Okay, good try. Anybody else? Remember, the more you answer, the more you will correct yourself. Because, until unless you don't learn it, you will be rest of life thinking about the same way. Allah talks about so much things, but I don't know, right? So this is how we do active learning, correct?
Is
When
it
you
this
say
box
something,
with, oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Is it this box with cognitive dissonance and fallacies where it lies?
Good one. Anything else?
Someone has said unconscious mind in the chat.
Good. Anybody else? I want you to think about it. Because if you don't think about it, you are the followers. You should be the leader. If the book of Hikmat is given to us, we cannot be followers. We are the leaders from our faith, correct? Allah has given you a book of Hikmat, correct? We need to understand it and lead, not to follow, correct? Other people. So Allah is challenging you. Allah has given you everything, Quran and the Sirah, and the knowledge. So you need to lead, correct? So the more you think, the more you analyze, more you critical think, the better understanding you will have. Otherwise, you will be just a follower of other people. So that's good. Anybody has any other answers?
Operant conditioning, reward punishment.
That's a good one too. But if I want to put one, which one you will put it?
Can you hear me? Am I audible?
I can barely hear you. These are good answers, by the way. And wallahu alam, Allah knows the best, correct? But I can analyze and tell you from psychiatry and psychology where it lies, correct? So I'm just telling you up front, Allah knows the best. And so that's one thing for sure, right? But based on psychology and psychiatry, I can literally pinpoint this is where the whole thing just lies.
Is it the ego?
Okay? So ego or the mind, which is the cult?
Can I add?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
It could be the subconscious habits.
Okay. So where the habit lies?
I think these are the subconscious patterns that we practice.
Okay. So patterns which you do lies where? In which part of your body? If I be more specific.
In the mind? I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay. It's very important. I want you to pull out the information from you. And it's good that you did that, correct? Because people will have different answers. So it's very, have to be very clear what you're talking, correct? Good. Okay. So everybody gave the great answer. I prefer not to answer right now because then you will start losing the theme of the presentation, correct? So you have to listen to it, and then I will answer at the end. Will that be okay with you?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, because then you will get the whole what you think. Now you will compare yourself, why you were thinking this way, and then I will answer. So my presentation is usually 15-20 minutes, and then definitely I will answer this question. But anyhow, all the choices which you were given was good ones, and a couple were one of them were right answers, in my humble opinion. But wallahu alam, Allah knows the best, correct? Okay, let me go.
Someone is asked, what's the question?
So where the procrastination versus consistency lies in you. If I have to ask you where it lies in this flow chart, where are you going to put it?
I think the question is clear now, so we can move on.
Yeah, it's my slide is not moving. That's the issue for me. So it's getting stuck here, and I'd like to move my slide. Can you stop sharing and come back again? Will that be okay? It's now moving. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now it's moving. Somehow the diary got stuck. I apologize for computer. I'm computer illiterate at times. Okay, so let's come over there. So these are the questions which we ask usually. And so there's a huge difference between habits and personality, from psychiatry point of view. And the most important thing you need to understand is what is habit and what is personality or traits are. So habits are repetitive behavior that is automatic sequence, learn and condition. Remember, automatic sequence, learn and condition, correct? These are a lot of terminology from psychology we are talking about. It is automatic. That's mean a lot of things are in unconscious mind, as some of you mentioned that learned. Sorry, I will use the laser so that will help also better. Do you see my laser pointer? Okay, so it's the automatic sequence, learn and condition, correct? So this is your habit, can be changed. So your habit can be changed. So if you're angry all the time or other behaviors, it can be changed because that's what in psychiatry teaches about. Habit can be modified, so it can go to a different level, correct? Triggered by situation, describe behavior pattern, and example are habits like internet behavior, smoking habits, and you can name all of them, correct? So these are habits, correct? So important thing that can be changed, triggered by situation, and basically it's a described behavior pattern. As compared to traits and personality are totally different. Traits are personality inherited or developed early and relatively stable. So they develop means by the age of 18 and onwards, they are fully developed. Before that, it's not developed, but they are developing in that position. They show up at different situation or events, and basically traits, later on traits become personality, or you may not develop full-blown personality, but you may have trait like introverted, extroverted, and those things. Those personality stays the same. That's why we call personality. And if they have a personality disorder, we call them personality disorder. And then we have therapies for that to help them cope with their personality if that is bothering them. So that's the difference between habit and personality. Personality stays there. It can tone down, but habit can be changed. Very important to understand. Just because you get angry all the time does not mean that's your personality. That could be habit, right? A lot of Sahaba had those issues and their habit changed. They become Muslim, correct? So habit can be changed. You cannot blame that. That's my personality. I cannot change it. So as another thing. So coming back to what Quran says about it, correct? Quran talks a lot about our procrastination consistency. So let's look into what Quran says it. This is Surah Nisa, which is chapter 4, ayat number 142. When they stand up for Salah, they stand reluctantly. That is what is that? They're procrastinating, merely to be seen by the people and do not remember Allah but a little. That is Allah is telling you. They are procrastinating. They are not consistent, correct? Then the other one is the second one, munafiqam, is that we have bestowed on you before the death comes to any one of you, and then you will say, "Oh my Rabb, if only you could have given me respite for a little while, then I would be given charity and be among the religious righteous." So it's telling us these are the habits which we develop, and then we realize that, I wish I go back and change my habit. And Allah is telling you, friend, that's what you're going to say. Literally telling you now as you're alive that that's exactly all of us, or most of us, will be saying. So may Allah not make us say that and change our thought process so we'd get out of that habits, correct? That Allah does not like, correct? Surah Asr. By the time through the ages, surely mankind is at loss, except those who believe and do good deeds. These are all habits talking. Allah is talking about our bad habits, correct? So we need to change our habits. And what is habit? Procrastination consists is a habit, right? So we need to figure out where this habit lies and what can we do about it. and we briefly talk about this, and that is something we need to think about it. And in the previous presentation, I went into detail what is ruh, qalb, nafs. And we have three different type of nafs. The qalb is also three different type. The qalb is qalb mayyat, qalb murida, and qalb salim. Nafs ammara, and the other one is nafs al-lawama, and the nafs mutmainna, correct? And then we have ego conflict, we have akal, we have ilm, we have hikmat. And if you like to know about psychology, it tells you more detail about it, which is a classical conditioning, operant conditioning, biases, fallacies, cognitive deficit, and that does affects your ego conflicts and affects your thinking process and all those things, correct? So it's very important. When I talk about ruh, I mean to say highest moral value given by Allah. That is what I mean. Psychologists say something differently, but this is what I mean by the ruh or superego is given by Allah, not by the parents or by the surrounding who gives the better values. So just be aware of it. That's why I said that. Okay. So the answer I will give you later. This is something which you need to understand. When we need to learn the system, stages of life, you need to know the stages of life. As you're growing up in school, high school, colleges, you're learning the system, correct? Numbering, basic operation, geometry, algebra, and calculus, correct? So you need to catch up, because if you're daydreaming or living in a false paradise, the book of Hikmat is there, but you will not get it because you need to catch up. You have to develop accountability and ownership of book of Hikmat. Once you do that, then you will understand it. So you need to be educated, learn about Quran and learn about Sirah and think about it. What is missing in you, correct? Once you learn that, everything opens up. The Sirah will literally guide you, make you ponder why are you doing that, or the Holy Quran will make you ponder on that, correct? So we need to catch up with life, correct? So coming to procrastination or consistency, procrastination is a psychological phenomena of delay in the thought process in the beginning or completing intended thought and behavior as a coping mechanism. So it's a psychological, which has psychological component and a behavior component, both of them. So psychological component is your thought, behavior is your coping or action. So it's both the component. So when you're doing it, either procrastination consistency, you have both the phenomena, behavior and psychological, correct? Behavior is the action, the coping mechanism. Psychological is your thought process, correct? So you just keep in mind, that's from the definition coming from Ferry, which is 1994, and Silverman, 1996. He thought about it. So if you go into detail of research in psychology, tons of works has been done on this. And I'm just giving you a few of the work done. So in 1984, this is the research group was done by research group. Tons of studies were done on procrastination versus consistency. Lace studies was done in 1986. Macau research group was done in 1987, and 89 Ferry study was done, correct? So there are tons of studies done in psychology in procrastination. They lay out in detail the human procrastination modules. So if you want to learn about it, I'm just giving you just the example of it, that these are the big studies. There are more than, I'm just giving you a few of them. And then these are the articles. If you want to read about it, you're most welcome. Just go through these articles, at least give you idea. I'm just giving you a few of them. There are tons of more than hundreds of articles written on it in psychology and in academic review. So we exactly know what causes procrastination or why we develop consistency. Tons of research done in psychology and psychiatry. And when all the research are done, these are a few of the findings they showed that people with procrastination show all those things. These are the silent features they found in research. So, I can go through each poor time management skill, is one of the reasons of high procrastinator, greater impulsive, low self-control and regulation, avoidant tendency and self-handicap strategy, unrealistic high expectation from other, ambivalence in thought, cognitive indecision, low self-esteem and efficacy, laziness is likely to reason to further delay, uncomfortable feeling, low energy to start the process, and decreased motivation drive. These are the findings from tons of research and that. So my question is, if what from all different type of studies, what are the most important thing they have figured out among this was the main reason people develop procrastination? Can anybody answer? These are the reasons with all the research done, correct? There are more of them, but these are the major reasons they came up. So which was the one or two reason they found the major cause of procrastination? Anybody wants to guess?
High expectations.
Okay. Anybody else?
Lower self-esteem and laziness.
Lower self-esteem and
Laziness.
laziness. Okay. Anybody else? This is how we
Avoidance,
learn.
avoidance
Avoidance.
tendencies.
Okay. Anybody else?
I guess sometimes we think that we can do it at the last time, at the last moment, or we can do it later on. So we just procrastinate it because we want that much energy to get motivated to do the task.
Okay. Okay. So based on all the research done, they found low self-esteem and efficacy was the core reason why they do procrastination. Again, I repeat, low self-esteem and efficacy was the core reason starting process of high procrastinators from all different type of studies. So something to learn about it, correct? This is where you need to work, because if you want to build a structure, you need to know what's the core reason start, correct? Once you know the core reason, you work on the first one and then build up, correct? So all these answers are correct, but the core reason from all the researchers showing low self-esteem efficacy, and I will go into detail about that. This is how their studies were done, correct? Rosenberg in 1965, correct? Low self-esteem and self-protection and low self-esteem. Low efficacy theory, belief in the ability to succeed by Bondra, 1997. Ego protection was done by Tyson, 1991. Threat for ego to avoid anxiety features, Freud in 1953. Impair emotional intelligence, most commonly done since 1990 onwards. So what they have found, the most important reason is low self-esteem. Low self-esteem and low self-efficacy are the major reason to start the process that affects the threat of their egos, lead to low decrease in emotional intelligence, leading to procrastination. This is how the cycle runs. So if somebody is procrastinating and their thinking is decreased emotional intelligence, that's not the answer from psychology and psychiatry. It's basically coming from low self-esteem and low self-efficacy. That's the core reason. So if you fix the core reason, that will affects your ego threat will get lesser, your emotional intelligence get better, and procrastination changes, correct? So this is coming from psychology and psychiatry. So this is how it works. So you have to work on low self-esteem and low self-efficacy first. If you resolve this, your ego threat will go away or become lesser and lesser. That will improve your emotional intelligence and decrease your procrastination. This is how it works. So at least you have an idea. This is something you need to understand from psychiatry and psychology, because I will go into detail in later slides. So first, let's understand this concept. What is a fact? In psychology and psychiatry, external based, short-term, and mostly conscious. Effect of a person is on their face. That is what we are looking as a psychiatry. What is the effect? Give you example. Insult by customer, the shop owner expressed anger to the customer with a facial expression and a loud tone of voice accompanied by condescending remarks. So these are all on the face and the voice and all those things. So that is what we call a affect of a person. Now, what is emotional and mood? Emotion or mood is internally based, long-term, and mostly unconscious. Mostly unconscious. So insulted by customer, the shop owner held his anger in his mind for the day, for the day. So they kept it in their mind for the day. They hold their emotions. That's not affect. Affect expressed on the face and the tone of the voice and all those things. That's affect. Emotions is internally from psychology point of view. What is behavior? Behavior, external action, demeanor with physical activity. So insulted by customer, the shop owners express his anger and walk away. Walk away is what? It's the physical activity. So there is a difference in each one of them. In psychology and psychiatry, that's why we go into individual. What a behavior is different than emotion is different than a fact. And that's the mind difference, correct? This is the minor difference you need to understand. Now I'm going to go into detail and using these terminology. So at least you have a complete understanding when I say affect or behavior or emotion, you get the point. Okay, so how it works. You're driven, you have a process, and you get the results. This is how it works. That means any consistency or procrastination is driven by that. It's a driven process and result. So what happened in procrastination? Delay action, driven by avoidance, processed by emotional base. See, I'm using the emotional base. Result, inconsistent effect. This is procrastination. As compared to consistency, taking regular action driven by habits. Now, this is driven by habit, this is driven by avoidance. Procrastination is driven by avoidance, and this is by habit, along with process by behavior based. So, this is behavior based. This is emotional based when we are doing procrastination. So, procrastination is emotional based, and consistency is behavior based. So what happened in consistent study progress? So you see the difference here. In procrastination, you have inconsistent effect. Inconsistency, you have study progress because it's habit and behavior based rather than emotional based in procrastination. This is coming from psychology and psychiatry. So at least you understand why the difference is, correct? So you need to understand this one thing, that if you have high self-esteem and high efficacy, you will have consistency. If you have low self-esteem and low efficacy, you will go into procrastination. That's where it is. You want to hide your self-esteem and efficacy. That's why you go into procrastination. And if you are good in it, you will become consistent from psychology point of view, right? Give you example of both of them, and this is what you need to understand, of low self-efficacy. So in academic setting, look at this, see the difference. Delay in starting to write up the speech, right? People with low self-efficacy, what is their thought process? I'm not very good at writing speech. So that's the thought. And what will be the behavior? Spending time on iPhone instead of starting writing the speech. So they have low self-efficacy. Same example in working setting. Hesitate to start, hesitate to give a new idea in the meeting. That's a scenario. So what's the thought process? If they have low self-efficacy, I know, but it can be uncomfortable if others do not like it. So they stay quiet despite of the new idea, which can help the meeting, right? So this is their behavior. So the thought goes with the behavior. This is in low self-efficacy. Understand, this is how they do it. So what we do find it, people with low self-efficacy doubting one ability to complete the task, fear of failure or underperformance, negative self-talk like I cannot do this well, perceive the task as too difficult, and they do procrastination. People with high self-efficacy, confidence in problem solving, view challenges as controllable, better emotional regulation, setting realistic goal and strategy, action behavior get better. So self-efficacy is significantly important with high self-esteem. And these are the one who will develop consistency. So in poor self-efficacy, they will develop procrastination with low self-esteem. And that's been seen in psychiatry. So as we talk about, we are self-esteem, you need to understand what is a self-concept is, what you are, what is your belief, it's your Islamic faith, or what are you believing, and what is your verification is, you whatever you believe, are you verifying yourself, correct? If somebody question you, are you proud of it, or you just question yourself? If your verification is poor, your self-esteem goes down, as we discussed about it. When you have a low self-esteem and so then it will be helpful for consistency, but it will be going towards procrastination, correct? Coming back again, the definition is different, correct? So if you're looking from psychology point, it's a self-evaluation to which individual values and accepts self-belief. It involves conscious and unconscious mind. So in psychology, it's a self-evaluation of individual values and accept self-belief. So you have value of, financial prestige and all those things. This is where the self-esteem comes in psychology. But Islamic concept is different. It's a self-evaluation of individual which has faith and accept to follow. So it is very important to understand. Sorry, I got invitation coming in, so I have to ask. Okay, sorry about that. So it is the self-evaluation in which the individual has faith and accept to follow. The Islamic concept is faith and are they following? That is high self-esteem, correct? The psychology concept is your value in money, value in prestige, and all those things. And when it changes, self-esteem changes, correct? So you need to understand the definition of these two, correct? So you need to understand when your definition is correct of self-esteem and self-efficacy, that is significantly important now. Again, I'm having a problem with this moving. So we talk about self-esteem, how to improve self-esteem, correct? In the previous presentation, identify the core belief, which is in your conscious and unconscious mind. Our core belief does not belongs to the Islamic concept, then there's a conflict coming, correct? And do you trust in your core belief? If you're having problem in your trust and your core belief is weak, you will have a huge problem in self-esteem because you cannot follow it, correct? And there is your self-esteem goes down. Then we talk about alternate thoughts and automatic thoughts, negative self-talk, primary and secondary gain, fear of rejection, all those things. These are all factor affects your self-esteem, right? So if you correct, your self-esteem get better. And as well as self-efficacy, I have already told you. So these are different scales used to understand your level of self-esteem and self-efficacy. These are terms I just want you to be aware of. These are scales used, and this is Rosenberg self-esteem scale, correct? So what is significantly important is your low self-esteem, leading to low emotional intelligence, leading to procrastination. So if you fix your low self-esteem and self-efficacy, it will help your emotional intelligence and your procrastination goes away and you will be more consistent. That is significant finding. So if you're starting to work on emotional intelligence and don't work on your core self-esteem, you have a long way to go because you missed the core foundation, correct? So emotional intelligence is there, but you have to work on your self-esteem and self-efficacy. And that is the reason you need to develop that. Once you develop that, you become more consistent in your prayers because your core self-esteem is high and self-efficacy is high. And that is what psychology talks about it. And that will help us become a better Muslim following of good habits and improve our habits. Now, coming back to the question I asked from the beginning, the answer is, and let me explain what is the answer for that. This one. In my humble view, it's your mind, but a lot of things are contributing because your habit lies in the cult, and the cult is your mind or where your ego is, correct? So your akal is significantly important to give contribution to your qalb, and the qalb is the driving one. So the nafs or the drive give you input to the qalb. So if your nafs is nafs amara and giving significantly important and completely controlling it, the qalb, and you have a complete influence of it, and your ilm or knowledge is weak, and you have an ego conflict, and you have biases, fallacies, cognitive dissonance, of course your superego or ruh has pretty much nullified the fact because it's there, but it has no control on it because you are being all controlled by the nafs and the ego conflict, and the ilm is too weak. So then your qalb is under the control of the nafs, and you develop bad habits, or you develop procrastination and all those things. But so if your akal is by the Islamic faith, and you have a classical or operant condition, classical condition is the pairing, and the operant condition reward and phenomena process is going, and the akal is verifying it, that it is worth it. Even if what is we are doing, this is the reward. Even if you don't feel it, you will get delay gratification. Delay gratification is significantly important in Islam. If you're instant gratification, you're not going to get it, correct? The nafs want instant gratification. The akal teach you the Islamic concept of delay gratification. So you control your ego conflicts, and you have less ego conflict, your akal is stronger. And if your akal is stronger, Allah will give you a hikmah to make it stronger, making the understanding of your operant condition, which is a reward and punishment, very well, and it will control your qalb, and the qalb is getting a backing of the blueprint of the ruh, and it will go to the nafs to go to nafs and mutmainna. So you develop consistency. Very simple, straightforward. That's from psychology, and psychiatry and Quran goes well together. So you have to understand your qalb is your mind and the ego. It's not the structural heart, because the heart does not think. Quran says in Surah Baqarah a lot of time, I have paraphrasing, I have given you ayah to think, use akal, correct? So when I'm asking akal, it's not coming from structural heart, correct? It's coming from your mind, from the akal, correct? And it affects your mind, and that will help you, right? So this is how you develop consistency. In my humble view, may Allah forgive me if I'm wrong in any way, and that's all I like to present. If anybody has any question, you're most welcome to ask.
So the core reason is our low self-esteem, right?
Low self-esteem and low self-efficacy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So how we can make our self-esteem and self-efficacy high?
Did you attend it from the beginning of the presentation?
I have just attended 1 or 2 sessions.
No. This presentation, did you start from the beginning?
Yeah, I've started, but I've skipped away for Maghrib for 10 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. So let me go back. That reason I cannot. You are correct, because Maghrib is required, and you have a right to do Maghrib, correct? So I cannot overpass, and you're right about that. Okay. So going over there, how to improve low self-esteem and low self-efficacy. I'm going to those slides. So for low self-efficacy, you're doubting your ability to complete your tasks, of failure, negative self-talk like I cannot do well, and perceive the task as too difficult. This is so low self-efficacy, correct? And so you have to develop high self-efficacy. You have to believe in what you're doing, correct? And self-esteem gives you the power, and efficacy make it happen, correct? So that is what is very important for you to understand, that you need both of them, self-esteem and self-efficacy. This is coming from psychiatry and psychology, which I'm trying to figure out here. Yeah. So your self-esteem and self-efficacy are the core features to improve your consistency. When they are strong, it will help your ego to get stronger. That will help your emotional intelligence, and that will decrease your procrastination to consistency. This is coming from psychiatry and psychology. Does it make sense?
All right.
Anybody has
Can
any
you
other
explain
questions?
can you explain the difference between self-belief and self-efficacy?
Okay, self-belief and self-efficacy. Okay, self-efficacy is, okay, let me explain. If I wrote it, let me see. If I have a slide to help you that also. So if you're talking about self-efficacy theory, belief in ability to succeed, ability to success, that is self-efficacy. Coming from Bandra in 1997. This is where his theory is. So what's the second one? Difference between self-efficacy and what? Self-belief?
Self-belief is
It's the same thing. It's belief in ability to succeed, ability to success. You know, you have a book, but you don't have the ability to succeed. Then your confidence is lower, correct? Although you have the book of Hikmat, correct?
so self-belief and self-efficacy is same.
Self-belief and yeah, pretty much the same. It's ability to succeed. Believe in the ability to succeed. This is self-efficacy. How efficient you are. What you have is, can you transfer into succeed? If you don't, you have low self-efficacy. That is efficacy. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah, yeah. And can you also explain the difference between ruh and zamir?
Okay.
You have written the higher.
What is your understanding? Before I explain, I need to know your understanding.
For zamir, I think the definition you have put for the ruh, I was thinking that of zamir. And for ruh, I didn't knew nothing about ruh.
Okay. So Quran mentioned about the rule concept, correct?
N- n- Nothing in detail, I think.
Yeah, it is
There is,
mentioned. It is very it's completely mentioned. It's a Quran mentioned that you have a limited information about ruh, correct?
yeah,
This was the question asked to Huzur Sasam by the Jews. And Allah
yeah.
replied in the ayat that you have a limited information,
Surah
correct?
Kaf.
That's one thing. Second thing is the blueprint of every good thing is in your ruh, correct? So you cannot say, I didn't know about it. Allah has given you everything in the ruh form. Because if you don't have the blueprint of all the right thing, you can claim on the day of judgment and say, I didn't have it. Correct? So Allah has given to all the human beings who are mentally sound everything. So you cannot say, I didn't understand it. It's given, correct? So that's why you're accountable, correct? And Allah has given you akal as compared to ilm also. There's a difference between akal and ilm, correct? Akal is the Islamic version of it. Ilm could be anything. You know, a non-Muslim can have ilm, knowledge, but it will follow something, whatever they like, correct? Akal is something more than that. Akal will lead to hikmat. Hikmat will come somebody who has akal, and it will lead to right direction. Ilm is not guaranteed to go wherever it wants, correct? Because basically, you know, you can be evil genius, but you don't have that. So that's very important. And Zamir, when you met Zamir, you have to give the English wording of the Zamir. What do you mean? Is the nafs you're talking about, Zamir, or what do you mean by that?
The way when we say the opposite of nafs, like when we say there is a zamir that commands us about to do good. I was thinking the definition you have put for the rule, highest moral value given by Allah. I was thinking this of zamir, this
Okay, this is an
definition.
Urdu word. I need an English word so I can translate into psychology and psychiatry. Zamir could be your qalb, correct? Or something else. I don't know. I need the English wording. It's an
One,
Urdu word,
one
so
minute, 1 minute.
It's consciousness.
oh, consciousness. So
Yeah.
conscious could be anything, correct? Conscious and unconscious, correct? There's a huge
No, not
contribution of
conscious and unconscious. It's like you're conscious in
consciously aware of it.
yes, or like no, it's conscience. Like the
Conscious.
moral
Okay.
compass.
Okay. So moral compass keeps on changing, you know, with different religions, correct? You take people with atheism, they have the moral compass is totally
It's not
different.
conscious, it's on science.
Science is also keeps on changing, correct? The
Is
moral
it the
value of
same
science keeps on
conscious?
changing too, correct? Each 100 years, the different values keeps on changing. The Islamic moral value remain the same, correct? So let's go to the Islamic value rather than the scientific moral values.
So we will
And
go to Islamic on science. Yeah,
yeah, it's Muslims or Islamic.
sure, sure.
Okay, I have a hand raised from Khazima, if
But
I'm pronouncing it right.
Yes, I have a
I
question.
didn't got the answer for difference between high moral value given by Allah and is it is the rule Islamic conscience
Ruh is
or
always
is it
pure.
different?
Ruh is pure with everything right in it.
Uh-huh.
And it's written there. So it is given to you. You have a blueprint of everything right. It's in your rule. And Allah takes away your rule. Correct? By the way, Allah takes your rule when you go to sleep too. So Quran talks about it. In the
So
sleep, your
do
rule
we
is
get
taken also. Correct?
bad during sleeping or because the good thing has been taken away from us?
Not
But
completely,
do
but
we
a
get
portion of the rule is taken away. And if it's totally taken, you will be dead. So, you know, the rule has the pure, correct version Allah has given to you, and limited
and
information is given to you.
and sorry to can you answer one more additional question like what if we if we can uh we are sometimes we are talking while we are sleeping. So when it is partially connected with us, the roof, how is it partially connected? Like it is taken away, but sometimes we are talking while we are sleeping. So
Yes.
how does it goes?
Do you know the sleep phenomena? REM and non-REM sleep?
The
Okay.
REM sleep and non-REM sleep?
Yes.
Yeah,
Do
I
you know
am
the
little bit
stages and
aware
all
of.
those things?
Yeah, the 4 stages of the sleep.
Yeah, so that's a huge long talk, correct?
Okay.
I don't want to go there in the sleep phenomenon and all
Sure.
those things. And please, that's not the topic we are discussing here.
Yeah, sure, 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 sure.
Okay, let's go to the next question. Khazima?
Okay, yeah. So my question is about one of the slide about the self-esteem, in which you have written that in from Islamic concept, the self-esteem of an individual is actually the faith and that faith that someone follows, right?
Correct.
And in psychology, the self-esteem is about the individual values, right?
Financial and, other values,
Mhm.
prestige and all those things.
So my question is, so it means right now, the obviously it's my observation and what I have learned until now, we see that the non-Muslims have the high self-esteem, and usually on and we see that right now the Muslims have the low self-esteem. So it is the basic thing that they have a fault, is it means it is the faith, in their faith they have a fault, that's why they have a low self-esteem.
Okay, let me answer your question. And this was completely discussed in the first 4 presentation. Did you got a chance to
Okay,
listen to those ones?
okay, I will listen to those. If you
Yeah.
if you have already covered,
Oh yeah, I
I
have
will
discussed
listen to the
in the
recordings.
4th.
Okay,
So I went into thorough detail about that.
okay,
So,
I will listen to the recordings,
sure,
inshallah.
thanks. Any other question? Malika? Hopefully I'm pronouncing correctly.
Yeah, I'm Laika. Am I audible?
Yes, please.
Okay, there was a question from Muhammad Qasim. I just want to add something in it if you allow.
Sure.
Okay, he asked about the self-efficacy and the self-belief. Am I right?
Didn't we answer that question?
Yeah, you did. I'm just wanting to add something in it.
Sure.
Okay, self-efficacy is basically your ability to just like a particular task that you can do it or you can't do it. It can be the low, it can be high. Self-efficacy is the particular behavior of your own ability that you can do a particular task or you can't do it. But self-belief, it can be positive and it can be negative. It is the generalized belief and your knowing about your own self, your core personality, not about the particular task that I can do it or I can't do it. It's about your overall personality. It can be good self belief, it can be bad self belief. It can be an like self belief can be bad self belief can be your overconfidence and your underconfidence, like self doubts kind of things. So self belief is your overall like your knowing yourself, knowing your personality, and that the thing. And the self efficacy is like how efficient I am about a particular task to do.
Hopefully that answers the question. Anybody has any other questions?
Yeah, I have one question.
Sure.
Dr. Najeeb, I don't see fitra in your whole flow chart. Where do you find fitra, the human fitra, inside the whole paradigm of this procrastination and consistency?
Okay. Fitra. Fitra, how do you define fitra in English?
Uh, the the built-in software of the human
That comes
being.
in your row, correct?
Oh, is it? Because Quran mentions it differently. It's the fitrat Allah allati fatara an-nas alayha. That's a
Uh-huh.
different thing, and the ruh is a different concept in the Quran.
Okay,
So
then you
they
need to
should be
educate me on that.
all right. Because when we say that, as it's mentioned in the Hadith also, that every human being that's born, he's born on the fitra,
Correct.
and the fitra is the neutral tendency or the innate features of a human being. There's a built-in software that comes with the factory fitted software, and then the parents of the born
So,
child, they make it Yahudi or Nasrani or something else. So
so
everyone
is
who is born, yeah.
so isn't Allah has given you something in you to understand that concept?
Yeah, it's an innate thing. Like,
Yes, so it's in your
yeah,
fitrah.
yeah. So what is fitra in the whole paradigm of that you have mentioned, the whole flow chart and structure?
So fitra will fall over here in the rule concept is, you know, the blueprint, the correct things is there in you, correct? And that influence your qalb, right? And you have to make sure your qalb is clean. It has getting all the correct concept from the akal, correct? Without any ego conflict. Your nafs has to be nafs and mutmainna, correct? So when you have nafs and mutmainna and no ego conflict, and you have akal and you have a reward phenomena coming and accepting reward phenomena based on the Islamic concept, like Abu Zar Ghafari didn't have anything, but he was happy with that, correct? And you have hikmat that will help your akal, that will shines your ruh concept in your qalb, correct? Then you will develop consistency. You won't procrastinate because your qalb is controlling everything and controlling your nafs. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. But my question is a bit different. It's like, for example, let's say there's a person who don't know nothing about Islam, nothing about Quran, nothing about anything.
Correct.
He was just born in an Amazon
Africa.
forest,
Oh, yeah, in a forest.
Amazon forest, you say,
Correct.
and he hasn't got any. He's just living a life of forest. So how would he know that Allah is my creator? There is one
My
creator.
word, you have answered my question.
Yeah,
What is Hazrat Luqman Hakim did? Surah Luqman.
yeah.
Allah has told you everything. Where Hazrat Luqman Hakim got all the wisdom?
So
Allah
was
has
it?
told you everything. Allah has answered your question from the Quran. I
All
don't
right.
have to tell you. Do you get my point?
Yeah, I got your point. I got your point.
And
So
he not only made him the hikmat for the rest of the mankind. How many Sahaba had made their surat name under their name? A person
I
who
totally
didn't
got
know anything.
I totally got the point. I know the answer. I know what's the whole thing and how Allah gives the fitra and how Allah gives the ruh. But the question is, where does the fitra falls in your flow chart? Is it the a sister of ruh, or is it a part
Okay,
of?
let me simple question. You need to question everything in the nature and ask yourself. You will see the presence of Allah. That is the fitrah will show up that
Yeah,
it can,
yeah,
you know, like for instance, I give you very
that's
simple.
right.
If you're a physician or anything, you will see EKG or EKG, whichever you call it, ECG or EKG. You have the same PQRST waves, correct? In
Mm.
billions of people, the same if you're healthy, correct?
Okay, yeah.
Can you explain? Please explain how can you get two right? All the billions people every second for hundreds of generations is going the same way. Now, if you cannot see the Khuda's fitra, then how can I explain to you? Allah is open to you. Have you seen the golden triangle in your face, in your body, and all those things? There's so many things in there in nature. So many things. You read medicine, psychiatry, you will hold your head and say, oh my gosh, so much fitra is written there. I cannot explain it. The moment you look at the plants, the animal, the sky, it's showing you everything. Why the Muslims are so high? They didn't have university, but they saw the fitrah of Allah. And they saw in them and see the names of the stars are more, thousands of Muslim names during the golden age. Do they have university at that time? The West was following the East.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
psychology was following them when they were in the dark ages. Look at Ghazali. Look at canon of medicine. Ibn Sina, for 500 years, it was a textbook of medicine. Can you tell me a name of a book for 500 years? Look at the vision forms in the eyes and all those. These were all the Muslims have. Who was the first scientist? Muslims were there. That's another story. Nobody talks about it, but it's there.
yeah,
Where they get it? From the nature. Allah has given you everything. Every second, the nature is showing Allah's grace. How many things you're going to decline? Correct?
yeah. I got your point. I got your point. But I am asking that the person who is observing the nature and then he goes back to Allah,
Mhm.
which attribute is he using from that flow chart that's mentioned just right in front of the screen right now?
So if he is not biased, correct?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If he's not biased, if he's not biased,
He does not have biases, he does not have
no,
fallacies, he does not have
no,
cognitive dissonance, correct?
no, no.
Let's
Yeah,
keep it
yeah,
that way.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he has a clear thought process.
Clear thought
He is
process.
not going to put his thinking, correct? He is
Yeah,
very neutral, correct? So
very
he does
neutral.
not have an ego complex, correct?
Yeah,
Then if he's Muslim or he follows or thinking in that direction, his akal will guide him. How can everything can happen when sun rises east and goes west and all the plants and all those things? Akal will guide him. Correct?
yeah,
Why it's being followed, why you have a sleep cycle, why you have cell cycle. If you're a physician or something, you will know all those things, correct? You have a life cycle, you have a mitochondria has a cycle, you have a cell have a cycle, correct? Why it's so correct? Correct? Why reward phenomenon? And these things will open up. You have not followed the Islamic concept. It's giving you, knocking at you that, hey, this is happening. So all this thing, then they will accept Islam. And when they accept Islam, they jump from ilm to akal. When they follow akal, and more they follow, they will get hikmat. And they will understand more about Islam, and the ruh will shine in them, and the ruh will shine in them, and they will become more consistent. Recently, this is a year ago, there was a person who became a Muslim, and and he used to come for the prayers every time and during the Ramzan time, first row, from Texas, and the other Muslim came. This guy is maybe around 20, 25 years old. The other Muslim was maybe around 50, 55 here. During the Eid time, he was just asked in front of me. And he asked, do you know what? I see you every day, all prayers, you are the first one. You just accepted Islam. I need your Islam. That was an eye opener for me. Because the guy jumped from non-Muslim to a Muslim, his ego conflicts were gone. Biases, fallacies, cognitive dissonance. He was better Muslim, and the Muslim was trying to learn from him. That Islam is. Develop that Islam. You will have consistency. You won't procrastinate. That was an eye-opener for me. Very simple. Allah give you all the examples in your lifetime. And still you don't get it, don't get it. Correct? Hopefully I answer your question. Muhammad Qasim.
Yes, please. Is there a difference between a procrastination versus consistency and individual procrastination versus consistency?
You're talking about group versus individual?
Yeah, yeah.
Where did you read about it, or is your thought process?
We think
Did you read about it, or is you thinking from your thought process?
I am thinking like
Thinking.
is it
So I
can you
have not
explain?
read in psychology the group effect, so I cannot speak.
Okay, okay. Then also, can you explain these three phenomena, nafs ammara, lawama, and mutmaina?
What do you know about them?
I know nothing about them. I
Okay.
didn't study it.
Okay, you need to, okay, that's good to ask. So, nafse amara is the worst one. That will pull you to the most worst thing you can do. Nafse mutmainna is the good one. It will take you to the right direction. Nafse lawama is the one which is fluctuating between a good and a bad ones, the fluctuating ones. So most of the Muslims are running between good and bad as the iman, the faith changes, they go flip and flop, correct? The faith is never the same. It sometimes high, sometimes low. So the nafse lawama is the one that is flickering and is and nafse lawama, if you have good faith going, then it will go to nafse mutmainna. If you are influenced by a bad influence or surrounding and all those things, nafse lawama go to nafse ammara. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah. So
That's
you
a
have studied
nutshell I've told
psychology.
you.
You have studied psychology.
Say it again.
Have you studied psychology?
I'm a psychiatrist.
Nice. So when you were creating this uh, PowerPoint or this presentation, did you intentionally use these oval colors?
Okay. So I use red color to show the badness and green color to show the goodness. Color is just a
Uh-huh.
paradigm.
What about the blue and gray and white and yellow?
Blue is in the middle, but that's not, I prefer not to go into minor detail about why I selected yellow and all those things. But
Yeah.
I appreciate for asking, but I think so it goes away from my presentation.
Oh, okay, sure.
Anybody has any other questions?
Is this nafse amara, lawama, and mutmainna? What are they called in psychology?
They don't have this.
Or is
You have to understand psychology just does not follow the faith,
all right?
correct?
So that's just you can say that just comes from the Quran, and that
Correct.
just comes from the faith.
Yes, yes.
So
But
there's
I'm
nothing.
combining both of them, correct?
All right, yeah. You are combined. So there's nothing regarding this nafs thing in psychology.
No, the nafs is there, correct? But it does not say a particular name for that.
Oh, okay.
But Islamic is far superior, correct?
Yeah,
It guides you. So
it
when I
categorizes everything.
combining two, it makes sense,
Mm,
correct? It makes sense. So if I'm teaching to Muslim, I will tell them that Islamic faith tells you more about it, right?
yeah.
So psychology helps you the pathways, right? What the Quran talks about the major blocks and it tells you the outcome results, correct? Now, if you use psychology and you get the result what Islam is saying, you know the pathways is right? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got your point.
So if you get the result the same what Islam is saying, the pathway which you did was right. And
Mm,
psychology explained that. So like I give example about the concept of anger and the hadith. Neurology explained in minor detail why we are, Huzurism said that when you're angry, have a seat, and if you're still angry, lie down. Neurology explained in minor detail about that. More than 50 years ago, the neural tract, by the neurotransmitter and everything.
mm,
And we as a Muslim hardly know about it. We say we take it for granted. Neurology
mm,
says it's always written there. Why did you know about it? What type of religion do you follow? That's
yeah.
why I brought it up. That neurology is telling everything and we don't know about it and we keep on criticizing everything. If
Mm,
if neurology is telling right, accept it. If neurology is saying wrong or psychiatry is saying wrong, decline it. But what makes sense and it's jive with the Islamic concept, accept it. not fight with it. That's my view. But wallahu alam, Allah knows the best.
Have you found something that's prevalent in psychology or psychiatry and that goes against the faith?
Oh, you're opening a whole 9 yards. I'm here to make you understand, not to break it.
All right, just
Do you
we'll just
understand? Here, we
yeah,
using
we'll just think.
psychiatry to understand more Quran rather than use psychiatry to go and talk about Freud issues.
All right, we can
Do you
discuss
understand? I
then.
apologize, but I didn't want to. There's a
All right,
lot
no
of
problem.
things wrong in psychiatry and psychology too, correct? It's not a religion, correct? It's just a science. Science keeps on correcting. But any
Yeah,
science, if it's right, you accept it. If it's
yeah.
wrong, you tell them. But don't amplify something wrong only when something is right is told to you, right?
Hmm.
Let's make our religion stronger in ourselves rather than go in division.
So the faith comes first. You're
Of
saying that.
course.
All right. So we put the actual compass is the Quran actually.
Quran and the Sirah.
Quran and the Sikh. All right. Yeah, that's right.
Means other things will help you, but Quran and Sirah is the main thing. If anything explain the Quran and the Sirah and makes sense, the outcome is the same, then you know the pathway is what they decided was right.
Got your point. I think there are some questions. Qasim,
Yeah, go ahead.
uh, Alishba, I think Sister Alishba.
Am I audible?
Yes, please.
Can I ask a question in Urdu?
Oh, yes, please.
Jazakallah. सर आपने concentric circles based एक diagram show की थी. Can you show it again kindly?
Self-esteem का?
जी diagram थी एक
Yeah.
layered diagram थी circular based. Which is also called onion model diagram maybe.
Those were research one. I didn't ever. This one you're talking about? Is this the one you're talking about?
Yeah, yes, this one.
Okay.
जी मेरा सवाल ये है कि in the core you have your own concepts, your
Correct.
own definition of your self esteem, right?
Correct.
इसके बाद जो सर डायग्राम शो कीजिएगा, स्लाइड चेंज हो चुकी है
Self-verification.
जी. द नेक्स्ट
This
स्टेप
one.
इज द सेल्फ वेरिफिकेशन. क्या ये सेल्फ वेरिफिकेशन एक्सटर्नल है, लाइक जिस इन्वायरमेंट में है उस इन्वायरमेंट में रहते हुए आपके इर्द गिर्द लोगों से जिनसे आप इंटरेक्ट कर रहे हैं, या सिर्फ आप अपनी डेफिनेशंस पर रिलाई करते ही अपनी सेल्फ एस्टीम डेवलप कर सकते हैं?
That's a very good question. बहुत अच्छा आपने सवाल किया.
वेरिफिकेशन के मतलब मैं पूछ रही
हाँ,
हूँ.
ओके. मैं उर्दू में दूँ, इंग्लिश में जवाब दूँ?
उर्दू में दे दें, देन यू मे
ओके.
रीट्रांसलेट इट एंड.
सो अब माजरत चाहता हूँ अगर मेरी उर्दू अच्छी नहीं है तो. अच्छा, तो जो वेरिफिकेशन है ना,
नहीं नहीं जी
वेरिफिकेशन जो है ना, आप अपने जो कॉन्सेप्ट है ना उसको आप वेरीफाई कर रहे हैं. अब उर्दू में एग्जैक्ट वर्ड वेरिफिकेशन का मुझे नहीं पता. तरदीद कर रहे हैं, नई तरदीद कर रहे हैं,
आई
सही
गेट
है ना?
दैट टर्मिनोलॉजी इज ओके, गो अहेड.
ओके. सो वो दोनों तरीके से होती है. बाहर से भी होती है, अंदर से भी होती है.
जी
अंदर से जो होती है ना, वो आपका जो ईमान है, आपके जो आप जिस पे फॉलो करते हैं, जिस पे बिलीव करते हैं, जिस पे फेथ है, वो भी वेरीफाई करती है. अगर आप कहते
जी
हैं कि आप रिश्वत लेना बुरी बात है, ठीक है ना, तो आप वेरीफाई कर रहे हैं ना अंदर से. ठीक है ना, पैसे मिल रहे हैं लेकिन कोई
जी
रिश्वत दे रहा है तो आपका ईमान आपको वलगाएगा, कहेगा ये क्या कर रहे हो, करेक्ट? ये वेरीफाई कर रहा है ना कि नहीं करो. अगर करोगे तो वो वेरीफाई अंदर कर रहा है ना कि बुरी बात है. ये अंदर हो रहा है आपके. आपको मदामत होती है, आपको अफसोस होता है कि मैं अपने ईमान के अगेंस्ट जा रही हूँ, करेक्ट? वो
ऐसा ही है.
अंदर है. बाहर से भी होता है. आप लोगों को देखते हैं, आप नमाज पढ़ें, दूसरे क्रिटिसाइज आपको कर रहा है, सही है, क्या क्या कर रहे हो, नमाज क्यों पढ़ रहे हो, इतनी जल्दी ये क्या कर रहे हो, करेक्ट? आपसे. लेकिन आपको फख्र है. फख्र है कि मेरा अल्लाह ने मुझे बुलाया और मैं अच्छी तरह नमाज पढ़ूंगा, इतनी अच्छी तरह पढ़ूंगा कि सहाबा के करीब से करीब तक ले जाऊंगा, ताकि मुझे फख्र हो रोज़े आखिरत के कि मैंने ऐसी भी नमाज पढ़ी थी। करेक्ट? वो वेरिफिकेशन हुआ ना,
जी सर। यहाँ
तो ये अंदर
यहाँ
से भी है
मैं ये
बाहर से भी
पूछना चाह रही हूँ जी, कि एक इंसान की अपनी डेफिनेशंस हैं, वो अपनी सेल्फ एस्टीम डेवलप करने कर रहा है, उस प्रोसेस में है, पर उसके इन्वायरमेंट में वो अगर उसकी एक्सेप्टेंस ना हो, उसकी कंसीडरेंस ना हो उन डेफिनेशंस की जो उसकी सेल्फ एस्टीम की है, राइट? अगर कोई इंसान के कॉन्सेप्ट्स जो हैं उसकी फितरा पे हैं, जो कि रिलीजियस हैं, तो अगर उसकी एक्सेप्टेंस उसके एनवायरनमेंट में ना हो, वो कंसीडरेंस ना हो, तो क्या वो सेल्फ एस्टीम डेवलप कर पाएगा कभी?
बिल्कुल कर पाएगा।
आई थिंक
आप अबू ज़र गफ़ारी के देख लें, हज़रत अबू ज़र गफ़ारी के, मुसलमानों के देख लें, उनको कौन
जी,
क्रिटिसाइज़ नहीं करता। अगर आप अल्लाह से खुश हैं और अल्लाह आपसे खुश है तो हु केयर्स?
जी,
करेक्ट? ये है हाई
यस,
सेल्फ स्टीम। ये साइकोलॉजी की नहीं है सेल्फ स्टीम। ये है आपकी
जी,
सेल्फ, जब आपके पास पैसा भी नहीं हो लेकिन आप खुश हो अंदर से, ये है हाई सेल्फ स्टीम। खाने के लिए पैसे नहीं है, खाने में खुराक नहीं है, लेकिन आप अल्लाह से खुश हैं और शुक्र मना रहे हैं कि जो भी अल्लाह ने दिया
जी,
शुक्र है। ये है आपकी हाई सेल्फ स्टीम। ये नहीं है कि आपके पास बड़ी गाड़ी है, बड़े घर हैं, बड़ी किस्म के खाने हैं तो आपकी हाई सेल्फ स्टीम है।
जी।
ये
एक ऐसा
डिफरेंस
जिस
है।
क्या मैं बोल सकती हूँ,
हाँ
इफ आई
बिल्कुल।
एम नॉट इंटरप्टिंग यू?
ना
ऐसा
ना।
ही एक सर साहिल ने अपने सेशन में एक स्टेटमेंट दी थी कि अगर किसी इंसान के ब्रॉटअप में पेरेंटिंग डिफरेक्चर्स बहुत ज़्यादा हैं, तो वो फिर अपनी सेल्फ एस्टीम डेवलप नहीं कर सकता, और उसी की वजह से वो इंसान इमोशनली इंटेलिजेंट नहीं हो सकता। तो अगर ऐसा हो कि वो जिस इन्वायरमेंट में है वहाँ बहुत ज़्यादा वो खुद को अपनी सेल्फ एस्टीम डेवलप, उसकी बहुत सेल्फ एस्टीम डिले हो चुकी है, और अब वो चैलेंजेस फेस कर रहा है उसको डेवलप करने में, डेफिनेशंस लेने में, तो क्या ऐसा इंसान इमोशनली इंटेलिजेंट हो पाएगा, या बहुत उस मीन्स कि वो सिर्फ मजहब से ही जो है वो कॉन्सेप्ट्स ले रहा है और अल्लाह की डेफिनेशंस पर ही खुद को कर रहा है कि अल्लाह के यहाँ क्या एक्सेप्टेंस है, क्या डेफिनेशंस है, पर वो जो इफेक्टेंस आती है आपको, उसको कैसे कोप अप करें?
ओके, इसका जवाब अल्लाह नहीं देती है कुरान में।
जी,
आप जैसे सीरा पाक पढ़ेंगे, आप देखेंगे मुसलमानों जब हुजूर सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के ज़माने में किस तरीके उनका पेरेंट्स ने डील किया था, ठीक है?
जी,
सहाबा के किस तरह डील किया था मुसलमानों ने, करेक्ट? उनके पेरेंट्स ने किस तरह डील किया था, ठीक है?
जी,
उनकी तो सबकी बदल गए थे, वो तो सहाबा बन
बस
गए थे।
ऐसे ही हजरत इब्राहिम के केस में हम देखते हैं कि उनके
तो आपका
फादर
कुरान आपको
बिल्कुल।
जवाब दे रहा है, वाई यू आर गोइंग फॉर साल।
जी,
भैया इसलिए मैं कह रहा हूँ आप खुद सोचें, आपका जवाब कुरान और सीरा में है। जब आपका कुरान
जी,
सीरा बता रहा है तो फिर इससे ज़्यादा और कौन सा कॉन्सेप्ट चाहिए? यस, मैं मानता हूँ मुश्किल है, मुश्किल बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती हैं, लेकिन अगर आपकी कोशिश करें और करें, ट्राई करें, अल्लाह आप कहीं ना कहीं से निकाल देगा। लेकिन ये तो कुरान का
जज़ाकल्लाह।
जवाब है, राइट?
सही है।
मुस्बा
थैंक यू सो
अकरम।
मच सर।
No, you're most welcome. Alicia Akram.
Sir, I already asked the question.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Anybody has any other questions for me?
Tariq Malik.
Assalamualaikum. Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Uh, I basically came late to this session, so I missed most of the details you presented, but I can tell you that this topic is a very important one for me because मैं बहुत ज़्यादा procrastination बहुत ज़्यादा करता हूँ तो आई वुड जस्ट मैं आपसे यही पूछना चाहूँगा कि कुछ आप सोर्सेज बता सकते हैं कि और इससे रिलेटेड नॉलेज या इंफॉर्मेशन कैसे ली जाए। बिकॉज मैंने खुद जब मैं अपने कुछ रिसर्च मैंने कैरी आउट की थी इस टॉपिक के ऊपर, तो कुछ प्रोडक्टिव मुझे सीखने को मिला नहीं। वो आपको पता है कि गूगल पे भी आप सर्च करें या एआई सर्च इंजन पे भी सर्च करें तो वो वही फजूल सी सेल्फ डेवलप बुक्स ही आगे खोल देते हैं जिनमें विजडम बहुत कम होता है या सीखने के लिए जो है जो फैक्ट्स हैं वो बहुत कम प्रेजेंट होते हैं। तो
ओके,
इफ यू कैन
तो इसका
टेल।
सॉरी टू डिस
नो 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 नो।
इसका जवाब ये है कि ये जो मैंने प्रेजेंटेशन की है ये आपको रिकॉर्डिंग मिलेगी वेरी सून। तो आप वापस से सुन लीजिएगा, इसमें सारे रेफरेंसेस दिए हुए हैं। और आप और भी ये काम कीजिएगा कि मैंने 6 प्रेजेंटेशन किए हैं वो भी सुन लीजिएगा, क्योंकि इसको समझने के लिए पहले वाली प्रेजेंटेशन समझनी ज़रूरी है, नहीं तो फिर आपको सवाल आते जाएंगे। क्योंकि मैंने कुरान, नसीरा एंड साइकाइट्री को मिला के किया है,
या
so it will help you understand that rather than you spend hours and hours reading the psychiatry books. It's put together for you. So मेरे ख्याल से आप जो 6 जो प्रेजेंटेशन वो सुन लें, और फिर जब ये प्रेजेंटेशन अपलोड होगी तो आप सुन लें, तो आपको बहुत हेल्प मिलेगी। That's the quickest answer I can give it to you.
ओके, थैंक यू। जस्ट फॉर कंफर्मिंग, आपके और भी अभी सेशंस होंगे ना आईएमएस प्लेटफॉर्म पे?
Um, that's the plan, but Allah knows how long I live, so I
ओके
cannot
ओके, जस्ट
speak.
कंफर्मिंग। और इफ यू कुड रिकमेंड अ सिंगल बुक फॉर मी जो सोली प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन के टॉपिक को ही
ये जो
उसके
मैंने
ऊपर
प्रेजेंटेशन
टारगेट
दिया
करती
है
हो।
ना, ये प्रेजेंटेशन दिया है ना, आप इसको सुन लीजिए, प्रोवाइडेड आपने पहली वाली प्रेजेंटेशन सुनी हो, दैट विल मेक
ठीक
सेंस
है।
टू यू। उसके बाद भी अगर सवाल है तो मुझसे पूछेगा, मैं आपको जवाब
ओके
दूँ।
ओके, थैंक यू सो मच।
हाँ, ये मसला ना। Anybody has any questions?
There is a question in the chat.
Can you read it?
Yeah, sure. He's saying, sir, you explained the definition of Zamir, and I have seen a video on the Hikmah, and there was a scholar who said the instinct nature of a human to regret and differentiate between right and wrong is one of the internal Hikmah. That's the least stage that Allah has given to everyone. And
Okay.
another statement was that we have organs like lungs, heart, which also designed in a way to work on the principle of morality. So how can we connect this all?
जिसने ये एक्सप्लेन किया उससे आप पूछ लें ना। If you're talking about lungs, explaining the hikmah, I don't know science has reached that level, correct? I know brain has reached some of it. I know heart has not reached it. So it's all goes to brain right now. So अगर हार्ट और लंग्स पे आप पूछ रहे हैं तो वो तो मुझे साइंस नहीं बता रही कहीं पे भी। तो जिसने भी कहा है उससे पूछ लो भाई, वो ही बता सकेगा, क्योंकि उसने जो क्लेम किया है। और अल्लाह ही जानता है ज़्यादा बेहतर, मुझे तो इल्म नहीं है इस वक्त, ला इल्म हूँ मैं इस सिलसिले में। Does that answer your question?
He says that, sir, like then how we can differentiate between Zamir versus internal Hikmah? Are they the same?
मुझे ज़मीर का एग्जैक्ट वो चाहिए ना, बिफोर आई कैन से, बिकॉज उर्दू वर्ड्स आर डिफरेंट देन द इंग्लिश वर्ड्स आर, करेक्ट? सो मैं किसी को मतलब गलत नहीं बताना चाहता, करेक्ट? दैट्स माय शॉर्टकमिंग, करेक्ट? ज़मीर इज़ द उर्दू वर्ड, करेक्ट?
Yes, it is.
And it's defined differently than what psychology defined, correct? So, अब just for instance, qalb, very simple example. I give you example. कुरान में कितनी दफ़ा qalb का जिक्र किया गया है? It's being defined differently, correct? जो भी translate करता है वो differently करता है। अल्लाह ने qalb कहा है ना, अल्लाह ने structure heart तो नहीं कहा है ना, लेकिन it's been defined differently. So we need to understand the context behind that, correct? If you look at the Quran, even Maulana Maududi has mentioned in detail about that. When they are mentioning about qalb, they are talking about mind. It's written in the famous Quran. So as a lot of other physicians have also confirmed, Zakir Naik and other people have also told that when they are talking about qalb, they are talking about mind, correct? The Quran says that look at the verses of the Quran, why they cannot use aql, correct? Where is the akal is? Akal does not lies in your structural heart, right? So context बहुत important होते हैं, you know. So I don't want to answer a question which I don't know the context and exact wording. So that's my shortcoming when I use the word zamir. Hopefully I answer your question, but I know I didn't answer your question.
I think that's it.
Okay.
It was all.
Thank you very much for coming, and I really appreciate. May Allah give all the blessing to all of us and understand. And if you have any question, by the way, you need to send the feedback questions to the people so they can send it to you so I can get the input back. Will that be possible?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay. Okay. Jazakallah. Okay. Allah Hafiz.
Assalamu alaikum.
फीडबैक
Assalamu
फॉर्म
alaikum.
का लिंक शेयर नहीं हुआ हुआ.
We'll share in the community.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Shukriya bahut bahut. Thanks for coming.
Okay, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.